Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special session on Regional Corridors Quest to Integrate Africa. The African Continental Free Trade Area, when fully operational, offers incredible opportunities for boosting intra-regional trade and the emergence of more competitive national, regional, and globally connected value chains. Now, this can only be achieved, however, through the development of infrastructure. And that is why over the past 7 years, the African Development Bank provided over $44 billion for the development of infrastructure. Annually, the African Development Bank commits between $1.5 billion to $2 billion to regional infrastructure projects and mobilizes equal amounts or at times double the amounts in form of co-financing from our partners. The bank's support for regional integration focuses on catalyzing public and private investment in transport and electricity connections. Today, our active portfolio of regional integration projects stands at more than $13.5 billion. We are financing the development of regional electricity corridors to assure reliable and competitively priced electricity. The African Development Bank and partners are implementing the $20 billion Desert to Power initiative to develop 10 gigawatts of solar power across 11 countries in the Sahelian zone, including regional transmission lines. We also support the development and expansion of regional power pools in collaboration with the African Union, Commission, and of course the regional economic communities and the heads of the institutions are here with us today. Now, driving our support for the development of regional transport corridors is the need to fast-track the integration of African economies, lower transport costs, connect landlocked countries to coastal countries, and improve regional trade and competitiveness. It is also to ensure that critical infrastructure, especially roads, ports, rail, connect countries to zones of major agricultural potential or where there exists abundant mineral resources or even oil and gas. As of 2022, the African Development Bank has financed 25 transport corridors, constructed over 18,000 kilometers of road, 27 border posts, and 16 bridges for a total amount of $13.5 billion US. Now, let me share with you some examples of these transformative regional corridors. The bank's investment in the Mozambique-Beira corridor transport system is helping to reduce transport costs of imports and exports for Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. Now, it was a momentous occasion on the 10th of May of 2021 when the Kazumgula Bridge was officially commissioned by the presidents of Botswana and Zambia. This $259 million strategic bridge, financed by the African Development Bank, the Japanese International Development Agency, and the European Union Africa Infrastructure Trust Fund, contributes to regional connectivity in the North-South corridor and the integration of the Southern African Development Community. The $2.7 billion Nacala Rail and Port project in Mozambique connects Mozambique and Malawi, strengthening export competitiveness. It was financed by the African Development Bank, Japan Bank for International Cooperation, JBIC, the Musuo Bank, Nippon Export and Investment Insurance, and the Export Credit Insurance Corporation of South Africa. Another one which I'm excited about because I just came back also from seeing it again is the Senegambia Bridge, financed by the African Development Bank and the European Union, which now connects Gambia and Senegal, reducing travel time by over 50% and improving trade between both countries. The Lagos-Abidjan Highway Corridor, which connects Nigeria, Benin, Togo, and Cote d'Ivoire, secured investment interests of $15.2 billion at the Africa Investment Forum last year from multiple financiers and investors. It will change everything within that particular region. Of course, I am absolutely delighted that last month the African Development Bank and the Africa Finance Corporation, one of the supporters of the African Investment Forum, joined with the United States, the European Union, together with the governments of Angola, Zambia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo to develop the strategic Lobito Corridor. This strategic corridor will connect Angola, Zambia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, opening linkages to the mines and connecting them to the port in Angola. The African Development Bank will commit $500 million to this $1.6 billion investment opportunity. The Lobito Corridor also brings together the power of two incredibly powerful global initiatives, the one led by President Biden of the United States, the Partnership for Global Infrastructure, and of course, an investment, PGII, and the European Union's Global Gateway. Clearly, friends of Africa, much progress is being made on the development of regional corridors. But there exist several more corridors to be developed in our quest for full regional integration. To fully optimize the benefits of the development of regional corridors across Africa, I think we should focus on 5 priority areas. First, dedicate pool financing facilities to support the preparation and development of corridor projects. Second, special industrial zones should be developed around the corridors to, of course, optimize on existing infrastructure in these corridors. It costs a lot of money to make infrastructure, to build infrastructure. Once you have it, you've got to be able to optimize around it to take advantage of the costs, high costs that have gone into that. Third, I think we need to put in place a systematic approach and, of course, a platform to identify and syndicate around the development of strategic regional corridors. And to achieve this, the Africa Investment Forum will now, from now, dedicate a special boardroom annually for regional corridors. These will foster greater collaboration, co-financing, and faster development of these strategic corridors in Africa. Fourth, development of regional corridors should be complemented with the establishment of one-stop border posts for trade facilitation and the reduction of travel times on these corridors. And fifth, concessional financing, such as provided by the African Development Fund, offers low-income countries unmatched resources to commit to the development of these regional corridors. The leveraging effect alone provided by the African Development Fund regional envelope is simply amazing, particularly for low-income countries like Magic. You put in money and you get several times in return, and I'll explain it in a second. So take, for example, the African Development Fund approved the Central African Republic and Congo-Brazzaville multimodal transport corridor development project. And the senior minister from the government of Congo-Brazzaville is here with us, Minister Jack. A critical section of the Pointe-Noire, Brazzaville, Bangui, N'Djamena multimodal transport corridor. Now, to secure the $275 million to develop this corridor, all that the Central African Republic had to do was put down only $4 million. And of course, the balance of that was provided by the African Development Fund's regional financing envelope. which gives you a multiplier effect of about 70 times. So whenever we want to develop any corridors at all, and we have countries that are part of the African Development Fund, as long as those 2 countries or 3 countries agree on the corridor, whatever the amount, of course we have a limit of how much we can have as African Development Fund. Within that envelope, once you've committed no more than maybe 10% of your resources to it, both countries, the African Development Fund would pay for the rest of it. It's almost like putting your money in and you get several times over. That's the way it works, and I think that we should use this a lot in spurring the development of corridors all across Africa very well, so also that low-income countries are not left out. It's not just the big countries, but the low-income countries are not left out. And that is the kind of Africa that we want, a fully connected, interconnected Africa, using regional corridor infrastructure and innovative regional financing instruments to unleash economic opportunities and assure competitiveness of national and regional value chains. A well-connected Africa will be a more competitive Africa. Regional corridors are the gateways to wealth for Africa. Let's build more of them. Let's make Africa wealthy, because we will not be known as a museum of poverty. Thank you very much.